In religious apologetics, a specific rhetorical construction is often used to corner Islamic theology. It is known as the Islamic Dilemma, an inescapable logical snare. The first scenario of the trap is simple. If the modern Bible is a perfectly preserved record of divine truth, Islam fails. The Quran explicitly denies doctrines central to that Bible, most notably the crucifixion and the Trinity. But if the Bible is corrupted, the standard Islamic position, the trap tightens. Apologists argue the Quran still fails because it commands Muslims to judge by and validate these very same corrupted texts. This creates an apparent logical loop. Whether the Bible is intact or altered, the apologist claims the Quran ends up invalidating itself. While the logic seems airtight, the dilemma relies on a significant lexical error. It assumes the Quran uses the same definitions for scripture as a modern church. Dismantling this trap requires us to look past the rhetoric and perform a forensic investigation into how these ancient books were actually constructed and transmitted. The dilemma's foundation is a false equivalence. It assumes that when the Quran mentions the Tawrat and the Injil, it is referring to the 66 or 73 books of the modern Biblical Canon. In Islamic theology, revelation, or Wahi, is a direct verbal message given to a specific prophet during their ministry. This is a singular event of divine dictation. The New Testament, however, is a retrospective anthology compiled decades later by anonymous authors writing from their own perspectives. This collection also includes the personal letters of Paul of Tarsus. These are human epistles, not a direct divine book revealed to Jesus, and they introduced theological shifts that moved away from the Quran's definition of monotheism. The Quran validates the original prophetic messages given to Moses and Jesus. It does not certify the human-led process of canonization that followed centuries later. To maintain the dilemma, apologists often claim that a corrupted Bible is a late invention by Muslim scholars looking for an exit strategy. But the Quran itself is explicit. Chapter 2, verse 79 condemns those who write the book with their own hands and then claim it is from God for a miserable price. This is the definition of Tahrif al-Nass, physical textual alteration. It refers to the human intervention of adding, omitting, or substituting words within a manuscript. Islamic theology makes a clear distinction. While previous scriptures were entrusted to human scribes who failed to protect them, the Quran is described as being under direct divine protection. This theological claim finds a parallel in the secular scholarship of the last century. The academic consensus on the New Testament confirms the loss of original autographs, the anonymity of the Gospels, and the thousands of textual variants introduced by scribes, often to resolve theological disputes. The Islamic claim of Tahrif aligns with the historical record, a documented history of human hands physically reshaping the biblical text. This historical context changes how we read the apologist's key verse, chapter 5, verse 47, which tells Christians to judge by the gospel. The verse contains a restrictive condition that is often overlooked. It commands Christians to judge by what Allah revealed in it. By specifying only the revealed portion, the Quran excludes the human additions and historical errors. It challenges the reader to find the original monotheistic core buried beneath the layers of editing. But how is a reader expected to distinguish the pure revelation from the human interpolation within the same document? The answer is found in the next verse, 5:48, introducing the Muhaymin, positioning the Quran as the sovereign filter over every prior scripture. It acts as a criterion, confirming remnants of truth, like the oneness of God, while filtering out human forgeries, like the Trinity. The Islamic dilemma relies on a fundamental equivocation, treating distinct Quranic definitions of Injil and Tawrat as synonymous with the modern Biblical Canon. By distinguishing between the original prophetic word and the later edited anthology, the Quranic narrative accounts for the textual instabilities discovered by modern scholarship. It presents itself not as a validator of previous books, but as the final criterion over a long history of human edits.